We the people.
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 We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all
are created equal,
endowed with certain unalienable rights,
life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness,
in order to form a more perfect union
and secure the blessings of liberty.
Congress shall make no law
abridging the freedom of speech or of the press
or the right of the people peaceably to assemble
and to petition the government
for a redress of grievances.
Let facts be submitted to a candid world.
Welcome to People's Platform. Hello, I'm Nancy Perbeck. And in 1994, Watts Biggers and I co-founded a nonprofit to counteract the negativity which often leads to violence. It is one way that all of us can, in fact, prevent violence in our cities. Well, one of our efforts is a very special day we've had for many years now on October 29th, which is called Positive People Day. It's an effort of all volunteers spreading kindness, which is very contagious. Kindness is contagious, and therefore our theme is commit to kindness. And the more we can spread acts of kindness throughout our city, it will offset the negativity which often will lead to violence. There are many ways that we can do this, and I'm going to tell you a few of them in just a minute. But I'm asking if you'll all listen to the kinds of things that you can do, and therefore you will be joining us as a volunteer, whether you are work in your own home or in your schools or your offices. And this is an effort that always begins in Boston. We have a proclamation which our mayor has endorsed for many, many years of ways that we can prevent violence. So, to make your own commitment to kindness, remember, it's a lot more of a challenge than we normally think of, volunteering our time versus writing a check. It means that you must do something that can make a difference in a person's day. Sometimes that difference can actually change their lives. And if nothing more, it can give them a lot of happiness. So, just remember those simple acts of kindness. Now, I'm going to give you a few examples, like being nice to an unpleasant worker, a co-worker. Sometimes we all have those experiences where we're working with someone who just may be the crankiest person and they're spreading all that negativity. Find something positive, find something nice, and we all can, even if we're very different. I always remember my daughter saying, you know, Mother, that was such good advice. The very person that was the hardest for her to work with, she said, I realized how brilliant she was and I learned so much from her. And just acknowledging people, it can cut so much of the tension. Now remember, when people are taking that kind of stress home, that's where real trouble can begin. Okay, other examples are changing the subject when you happen to hear people gossiping. Remember, for our children, gossiping is very destructive. How many children are hurt? We can all remember a time in our own childhood when someone might have said something unkind about us. We have no idea how fragile that person might be. And remember, that is an ingredient of bullying. So we as role models must remember, anyway, change the subject if you're in the middle of gossiping. Helping a single parent who needs perhaps a little childcare relief. There are many ways we can do things like this. If you're an auntie, or if you're a next door neighbor, or someone that you know who might just need some help, you can say, hey, can I take your 7-year-old for the afternoon? We'll play checkers. And so there are many different things that we can do. Visiting someone who's lonely, or worse. My mother is in a wheelchair right now, and I tell you, every single day, her whole demeanor changes enormously just to have me or someone else come in and give her a hug. And there are so many other reasons that people might need a special visit. They might be out of work, and of course that's a very depressing, very stressful thing. Yielding in traffic. Yield. It was taught to me a few years ago by a very, very wise man to avoid a great deal of road rage. Just yield. Instead of naturally when we have had the outrage of having someone cut us off. Now, I'm not talking about safety issues, but there are many times when people simply make mistakes. And instead of blowing the horn and scaring them to pieces, and there are other ways that you can be demonstrating kindness in this city or wherever you are. Thanking someone in a special way. A note is such a wonderful thing to receive. We all know that. And if you can't think of anyone to thank, remember a teacher that you might have had as a child. We all have one special teacher, more if we're very fortunate, but someone who was very kind or saw something in us when we didn't necessarily see something in ourselves. Years ago, which is part of what led me to this advocacy, I represented a statewide child abuse prevention program. And I learned from a brilliant man, his name is Dr. Richard Helfner at Dartmouth, and he talked about the importance of a buddy system. Well, we all know what a buddy system is, but imagine if you're a single parent and in the middle of the night, you have no one to get up with a sick child, and perhaps you've worked 10 hours that day, and those are very stressful times. And so any way that we can help, and remember, 2 parents are so fortunate to be a buddy system for our dear children. And we all know how to sense when the other person is on overload. We all experience that, even with the many, many wonderful joys of children. Just do remember that kindness can prevent violence. Years later, I had another very special experience. I refer to it sometimes as my Peace Corps stint. It wasn't, but it was one of the most interesting experiences. I had been conducting seminars, many of them conflict resolution seminars, and I was asked to work with families and mostly with adolescent boys who were in very serious trouble. Most of the problems were drug-related. And what I came to do, I discovered so much of their anger, which led to abusive language, and as they then described, led very often to their violent behaviors. So I gave them the very simple tools. Of course, they're, just the simple tools to begin to acknowledge someone. Speaking in a kind way can make a huge difference. Finding something positive to acknowledge and to communicate with someone, even if you're still harboring anger, it can begin to shift things, certainly. And just to avoid those abusive words, as a dear friend of mine once said, in my culture, he said, we were always taught that the words you shoot with your mouths do not miss the target. And we all know that. Words can be almost as hurtful as another form of abuse. Anyway, just those simple tools made such a huge difference for these families. They started to communicate differently. Now, kids don't need meanness. They need kindness. Our Positive People Day, we are so blessed because we have been endorsed by 3 of the nation's top psychiatrists and researchers from the Harvard Medical School. And what these amazing men and women advocate as well are just the importance of being positive and adding kindness to the way we communicate. It can prevent violence. We all know this is a tough time for many of us in this country. Stress will almost always lead to negativity. And in some sad situations, it can lead to violence, but we can all help. Positive People Day is not one day. October 29th is a great excuse that we use to send volunteers everywhere. But it is today. It is every day. It can be every day. And so on October 29th, we have volunteers which are spreading our underdog cards with simple ways to help. You can print your own cards. I will show them to you in a minute. They're from our website. You can go to our website at victoryoverviolence.org or .net. And you can print your own. You don't have to go to like South Station where we have always congregated the days before. And so many of the commuters absolutely love it. They come in and they say, oh, please, can I have one of those little cards? I remember one of the first comments was, my boss is such a grouch and we really, really need them. Now look, this is a little humble card. It has an adorable little, our mascot is Underdog because the co-founder of our nonprofit is the man, he and his partner created Underdog, and Underdog was a gentle little superhero. And Underdog says on Positive People Day, share a smile, call your mom. If you don't have a mom, call somebody else's mom. Laugh, participate in a random act of kindness. Give an unexpected compliment to someone that needs it. I promise you, it will be a gift. So do remember that anyway, you can create your own way to commit to kindness. You might create a much better idea in your home or your office or your neighborhood, and you can make this city, it's our city, or your city, a place where people want to come, not just for the history, but they want to come because we are a kind population. And so I just want to say there are many favorite stories that I have over the years of how people have come back and shared so many wonderful good deeds. It's a good excuse to help the city. It is not about one day. The volunteers at South Station and go all over the city just love it. It starts out just by the simple act, and people just keep saying, oh, please, can I have more? Teachers have stopped and asked, could I have them for my entire classes? One teacher, I said, oh, how old are your children? And she said, they are Harvard grad students and they need them. The Boston Arts Academy, they spread throughout the city. Last year, they got so enrolled and they were singing our Positive People theme song and the Underdog theme song and bringing joy to everyone. People at DePrisco Jewelers, every year they come out just because they want to help. Cheers in Boston, I tell you, for 14 years, they have all the people that work there, I tell you, they have spread so much kindness. I am always so grateful for them. And let me just close. There are so many wonderful acts of kindness, but a single act of kindness could alleviate the stress which causes someone to lash out at a child or a stranger or even you. So please commit to kindness. VictoryOverViolence.org. I'm Nancy Perbeck, and I thank you so much